Welcome to My Morning Cup, a podcast produced by Costa Media Advisors and presented by Rockpoint Bank and EPB. Rockpoint Bank, from Chattanooga for Chattanooga. And EPB, get EPB's fiber optics for the world's fastest community-wide internet. I'm Mike Costa, your host. My guest this week is Ketha Richardson. Ketha is the Director of Workforce Development and Corporate Training for EPB. Much of his work happens behind the scenes through partnerships and collaborations. Ketha's impact in the community comes from building bridges among employers, schools, nonprofits, and students. Ketha, before we find out why you're so devoted to making opportunities to great careers available to all Chattanoogans, let me ask, what's in your morning cup? And I think you already told me you don't drink coffee, do you?
I do not drink coffee. It may be water. Most of the time it's water or maybe some kind of juice.
Yeah.
Love some juice, some orange juice, pineapple juice.
So what's your morning routine? What time do you get up?
I get up about 6 o'clock, anywhere between 6 o'clock and 6:30.
Yeah.
And get up, and my wife and I will chat it up, and as we're getting ready to start our day. She works remotely, and then I get up and I come into the office, and it works really well for me. And her as well too. So we start our morning off together and just kind of talk about our day.
So I think I met you probably back in 2003 or 4. I think I was still at Fox 61 at that point.
Or maybe a little later than that. I came here in 2007.
Okay, so then I was already at News Channel 9. That's when
Yeah.
I met you. Unless I went down to Florida and met you when you were down there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was in Florida in 2003. But yeah, I think it was around that time when I first got here to Chattanooga. I definitely remember meeting you around that time.
Yeah, and at the time I didn't realize it, but you're basically a fellow Memphian.
There you go.
We're both Memphis guys. And so you grew up in where, Munford?
I grew up in Munford, Tennessee. And that's where the majority of my family is there. Memphis, Munford, all of that in that same area.
Because that's what, 25, 30 miles north of Memphis?
Correct.
Something like that?
Correct, exactly.
So what was it, Munford being a small town? I'm going to show my University of Tennessee colors here. I know Johnny Jones was from Munford.
Yes, and Johnny Jones was my cousin.
He's your cousin, first 1,000-yard rusher in University of Tennessee history.
Exactly right. Yeah, we were so proud of Johnny when he did his thing. He, I was looking at some clips from him the other day, and he actually has a golf tournament that they do every year around Mother's Day. But yeah, he is from that area. I went to high school with his brothers. Which one played basketball at Ole Miss and the other one played basketball at Dyersburg State. The other two, they didn't play football. They went to the basketball route.
So what was it like? Munford was, particularly when you were growing up, a small town. I'm sure it's grown quite a bit because Memphis has grown north in that way.
Absolutely.
What was it like growing up in a small little town outside of a large city?
Well, I mean, actually, it was pretty cool because the area that I grew up in was a family. It was a lot of families around there. I'm talking about it was sort of like when you look at those old movies where you're riding the bikes and stuff, and you have to be home when the street lights come on. All of that, it was true to that. So we would ride our bikes to different areas and stuff. We play basketball, baseball, all kind of stuff with the different people in in the communities. But it was like a lot of family. I had a lot of family in that area. So if I got in trouble while I'm out with one of the neighbors and stuff, I could get a whipping in this neighborhood, but then I'm going to come home and get a whipping because they're going to tell my parents what happened, and then I'm going to get in trouble again. So we stayed out of trouble. It was a good way to stay out of trouble. But, I mean, it was a time where you could just go out, and we can be gone all day long, and they don't want you to come home until it's time for you to get in and get a bath and go to bed.
You had a lot of eyes on you, didn't you?
We had a lot of eyes on us, but it was cool. It was such a great way to grow up, and it was different from when my daughter. I mean, because seemed like things were a lot different then because we were afraid to let her just sit in the backyard by herself,
Right.
much less go to different neighborhoods and visit the different neighbors and things.
Yeah. What besides the typical things that particularly young boys do, riding your bikes, playing baseball, playing basketball. What other type things did you guys do for fun as you were growing up?
Well, we had some areas it was close to the woods. We would go and do like exploring in the woods and things like that. Just we were all over the place. And
Yeah.
just, I mean, we would be on our bikes and go 10, 15 miles away and just, places that we probably shouldn't have been, but we did it, and we did it as a group, and it was just a whole fun time.
And you got siblings?
I have 2 brothers, a younger sister, and I have 2 older sisters that grew up in the city of Memphis.
So are you in the middle?
I'm in the middle. I'm a middle child.
Yeah, I know that curse. It's not really a curse. It's a good place to be.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. Play sports in high school?
Basketball was my sport.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Work any part-time jobs?
My first job was working at Captain D's in Millington, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was an experience. You come out smelling like fish because I was a cook and you had to do all the cleaning and everything. I remember it's funny, one day I came home and there was a kitten like outside the door when I was getting ready to walk in the house, and the kitten, he could smell the fish on me, and it was just started reacting the way it was reacting. It was funny, but it was a good experience. I mean, that taught me a lot working at Captain D's.
Any lessons taken from that in terms of a first job or any situations that you really learned something?
It let me know that I want to continue to go to college.
Those are the best jobs, aren't they?
It was. I did it. It was the first summer before I went to college, and then I would come back and do it some more. And it was like it let me know that I wanted to go to college, and I needed to stay in college if I wanted to do something different with my life.
And you went to, was it UT Martin?
I went to UT Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's not terribly far from Munford. What is it, about 100 miles?
It was 2 hours away.
2 hours?
So it was far enough to where nobody was just going to drop in on you unexpectedly, and close enough to where I could get home when I needed to be.
I think that's an area of the state of Tennessee that not enough people know much about.
Right.
Because I've never been to Martin, and even despite growing up in Memphis and that whole Reelfoot Lake area. Mm-hmm. And I went to school in Knoxville. So talk a little bit about Martin and that experience.
Martin was a wonderful experience. It was like we all kind of bonded and became really good friends and stuff. So, I mean, I still have some friends and stuff that I went to college with, and we all go back for homecoming. Mm-hmm. and we see each other for homecoming. I've built some lifelong relationships in Martin. It's a beautiful area, but like I said, not much there. It's a college town, not much else there. But the relationships that you found, that you built over the time. I had some of my fraternity brothers that I pledged with. They were here for my daughter's wedding, and we still visit and we keep in touch with each other and stuff. So it's something that I really love and enjoy doing.
How big a school is Martin?
Ooh, it actually has grown quite a bit. I'd have to look it up. It's been a while since I've even figured it out.
Probably close to UTC size, or they should be a bit similar, wouldn't you think?
They are pretty similar, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's similar to UTC for sure.
Yeah. So business administration and marketing at Martin. What was that experience?
So that was after I changed my major.
What was your first major?
My first major was education, because I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I had a lot of teachers in my family.
Were your parents teachers?
No, my mom, she wanted to be a teacher. She was a substitute teacher. She wanted to be one. My dad actually worked for the Millington Telephone Company. He was a lineman for the Millington Telephone Company. So the utility industry was that was in my family. I really didn't even realize it until I started working at EPB. But the reason I decided not to be a teacher was because I thought about how much money that they make, and I was like, I think I want to make more money than the teachers are. And there's nothing against them, but it was just I just wanted something a little bit different, and it kind of made me change my perspective, and as I moved into the business.
It's interesting you brought up the Millington Telephone Company, because that was a standalone entity for a number of years, and it was really successful too.
It really was.
I'm trying to think, when did they sell that? God, that was probably in the late 80s or 90s
So the guy who owned it at the time was Babe Howard.
That's his name, Babe Howard.
He was, because he knew my dad very well, and it was like, because my dad worked there for like over 36 years.
Yeah.
And so he took care of his folks, and I just remember that. Yeah. And so Babe Howard, he did a really great job of taking care of them and put us in a position where, we have a pretty good life growing up.
And didn't Babe Howard also instrumental behind
like amateur baseball, like
There was
American Legion baseball.
Yeah, exactly. It sure was. That was. They had something like that in Memphis and in Millington, and it was some kind of a. Yeah, it was. You're right. Which was pretty cool for us too, because we got a little bit of that. We got a chance to go and check some of that stuff out.
And I would imagine when you were growing up there, that's when Millington was still a full naval base.
So
there was a lot of
the naval base was active. Yes, it sure was. And sometimes we would go to the base and play sports and stuff. We had that's where we played tennis, and pickleball was the first time I actually played on the base way back in the day.
Pickleball was around then?
Way back in the day.
God, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So did you play pickleball in college?
No. Did not do that.
Yeah. Did you also work in college?
No, I did work study.
Work study?
Yeah, so that was good. So, and actually I was doing work study in the education department, because that's where my major started out. And I continued to work in there. They still let me work in there, even after I changed my major.
So in education work study, what was the kind of work?
That's when you go and sit in the education department until they tell you what to do. So you could bring your homework in there and work on your homework, unless they had something for you to file or something like that. So it was pretty laid back, and then you got paid to do whatever they needed to do. So, but those were some great people that worked in that area.
But it wasn't like student teaching, was it?
No, nothing like that. No. This was just like I said, just whatever kind of grunt work needed to be done at the time.
Yeah. So you go in as an education major, and you quickly realize that, maybe this isn't what I want to do. How do you end up choosing business administration?
It just kind of fell in my lap. I guess it was, I was trying to figure out, I knew I didn't want to be like an engineer or anything like that. And it just kind of, I had some other friends that moved into the business area, and it made me, that's how I ended up in business.
Yeah.
Now, I still went, I was like, I'm going to college and I'm a business major, but I'm like, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So it was like, I know I'm not going to stop, but I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And how did you find what you wanted to do?
I graduated in December of 1994, and that next week, I graduated on a weekend, and next week I went to a job placement company, and I just filled out an application, and they placed me in a job like that week as well. And I went to a company called Thomas & Betts, and they put me in the procurement department at Thomas & Betts. It just happened to be, that's when I went and signed up, and they put me there. I had no experience in that at all. And so the work that they had me doing, I learned it. And then, so when I started putting that type of thing on my resume, those were the type of jobs that I was eligible for.
Because that's what you were doing.
That's what I was doing.
Is Thomas & Betts electric motors?
It was, we used to do like tie wraps and things like that. It was electrical stuff.
Yeah.
And when we had was like a vendor managed inventory for the area that I was in. So we would actually send material to the clients when they needed it, or we would manage the inventory and we would send it to them as needed. So the area where they had me doing was I started generating reports and learning a little bit about that. And like I said, that's how I started getting experience in procurement, because they placed me in that area.
You weren't a high school kid going, when I go to college, I'm going to learn to be a procurement guy.
I was not. I didn't even know that was a job, because it started, that was the first one. And then my next one was, I was a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, they pay me to spend money, so it was a pretty cool thing. They pay me to do shopping. And that's how it kind of, each job after that. So I started a buyer, then I became a senior buyer, and just kind of grown from there.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that you weren't necessarily doing something that you said, oh, that's what I want to do my whole life, but you were learning it. And because you were in that field, it was leading to other jobs.
It was.
That were in that same field, because that's where your experience was.
That's where the experience was. And it just kind of grew from there. And that's my whole career has been that up until here recently. But the funny thing about it is now they have a supply chain major in schools, which they did not have that back then. I didn't know such a thing existed. But now there's a supply chain major degree that you can get.
Yeah. And it's a sought after degree too.
It is.
Logistics and supply chain have become huge, and particularly in Chattanooga,
Absolutely.
as you know.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your Thomas and Betts years, your advancement through year, and then what was next through there, and then what was next.
Yeah, so I started at Thomas and Betts, and then which was cool. I only did that for like a year, and then my next job was at Intelligent Electronics as a buyer.
Was that also in Memphis?
All of this was in Memphis, yeah. So and that was cool. So that one, I was buying computer parts at Intelligent Electronics. And so got a little bit of experience there. Then I had some friends of mine who moved on from that I worked with at Intelligent Electronics. They moved to this company called Aerospace Products International. This was sort of like AutoZone for airplanes.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it was cool because you had all the parts, everything that you would do with that. And so I became a buyer there, and then we had a contract with FedEx where I was like the account manager for that, and we would do vendor managed inventory for FedEx. So I actually had a ramp pass for my little '93 Nissan Sentra, and I could drive out on the ramp in my car and make deliveries and stuff to the different areas at FedEx.
Really?
Yeah, it was really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, because I mean, you put a car on an airline tarmac.
Yeah, yes.
You draw a lot of attention.
You draw a lot of attention, and I knew the rules, or airplane had the right of way was what they always told me, and I had $1 million worth of insurance on a '93 Nissan Sentra. Yeah, but
did you ever need it?
Never needed it. I respect those big boys out there. I never that was never an issue. I never came close to having an issue out there.
Yeah, a lot of times those FedEx jets are going to win,
yeah,
particularly against a Nissan Sentra.
Yeah. So that was a really, really cool experience when I did that, though.
Yeah, and how old are you at this point?
I was early 20s, so right around the time when I got married, probably like 25.
So you're 25 and you're a business administration major, but you're over in procurement. Are you working? Are you motivated by the work? Or are you working because it's a good job and it's providing you the money and the opportunity to do the things you want? Is there something else you're looking for?
It's I mean, it was the job at the time, and I really didn't. It was good money, a good job, good opportunity. I still didn't know if this is where I wanted to be, how long I want to be here, but I was happy. I mean, and I've been happy in all my jobs. So it's been, and waiting for the next opportunity to come. So it was not like I need to get out of here type of thing, because I love the people that I work with in all of the jobs that I have.
And you're learning along the way.
And I'm learning.
They're paying you to learn.
They're paying me to learn. That's the way I look at things a lot. I mean, I'm always getting paid to learn.
Yeah. And the reason I'm kind of peeling back on that a little bit is because I'm sure we got a lot of listeners who are probably working in some jobs that they go, you know what, right now that's a good job, but this is not what I envisioned.
Right.
So how do you get through that? How do you get through that beyond if it's not a job that's bringing a lot of passion?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, and it didn't, but like I was happy with what I did, so I really didn't know it until I found a job that I had the passion for.
That's a great point.
I loved working in supply chain, and like I said, it's been really good to me. But until I actually got a job where I'm really helping people, and I feel like I really made a difference, that's where the passion came from, and that's where I love what I do right now.
And the airplane company was
Aerospace Products International.
Aerospace Products. And how long were you there?
I was there for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. So what was next?
Next, I went back to a company called Selectron, and they did repairs on laptop computers, and they had they also built new computers and things, and we had a contract with Xbox. When Xbox first came out,
oh wow, we
used to repair Xboxes.
Really?
Yeah, that like I said, it was a pretty cool experience there too. This was in Memphis. All this was in Memphis.
And the fact that we were in Memphis, and you think about Xboxes being repaired, and FedEx had to be a big factor in all of that.
FedEx was huge. That's why they were there.
Yeah.
I mean, because you could ship them all out and get those products moving pretty quickly and stuff. So the location was everything.
Yeah, I don't think people outside of who grew up in Memphis or know that area very much really understand the impact of that company on that city.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot of people. I mean, like, we have people moving to Chattanooga because we have the internet and with the gig and 10 gig and 25 gig. But Memphis area, I mean, FedEx was huge as far as attracting businesses.
Yeah. I had still friends with guys I went to high school with who right out of high school went to work at FedEx, working the line and advanced their career through it and retired early because, they were getting those stock options.
They sure was. They sure were. My brother worked at FedEx for the longest, and then he went back to school and he became a teacher, and now he's an assistant principal. And I've had like lots of family members that have worked at FedEx doing part-time work and getting those benefits and stuff. So it's been FedEx has been huge for my family and Memphis in general.
So Selectron, they're repairing Xboxes. What were you doing there?
I was a buyer there, and I became a supervisor in that company.
Was that your first supervisor role?
That was the first leadership role I had. It was as a supervisor was there.
What was the challenge of that for you? Being a young guy, managing people for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I always treated people, fairly. So it was, and I had good people that worked for me, and I really built really good relationships with them. So it was a little different. I remember having to defend them at times too. So it was a whole different type of experience. Just making sure that I took care of the people who worked for me. So yeah.
Yeah, and you brought up a word that a lot of folks talk about when we talk about the careers is relationships. How much of that first leadership management role for you was learning on the job, and how much of it was instinctive for you?
Most of it was instinctive because I didn't really have formal leadership training.
Yeah, they didn't say go through this class.
They did not do that. They did not send me to a class or anything like that. It was just let me know who was going to be working for me, and then just kind of figured it out for myself, really. But I will tell you this, though. I did have a manager there who he didn't handle pressure very well. So he was the type that would hear something negative, and then he would come and to talk to me about it, and he didn't approach it the right way. So he would come in this aggressive way and tell me what he had heard. And then when I tell him what really happened and explain the whole thing to him, then he'd be like, oh, well, okay. And then just kind of turn around and walk off. And at that point, I told myself that that's the type of manager that I will never be. So it made me want to listen to both sides of the story anytime I'm dealing with anybody. Yeah. And so I learned a lot from that situation just because of the way he handled things.
Yeah, it wasn't the way you would handle it or the right way to handle it.
Exactly. Yeah. And he realized that as well because he was later terminated from the job. And after he told me, he said that was just a lot of pressure. And he apologized to me because of the way he handled things.
Well, and I think that happens to a lot of people, particularly when you're in a pressure situation. Right. Some people hear, something went wrong or someone said something, they come back very accusatory, but it is very important to get both sides of the story.
You got to get both sides of the story. I mean, and then figure out what the truth is.
Yeah. That can sometimes be a hard thing to do.
It can be, but I try to be fair. I mean, I'm listening and I want to hear it. I mean, let me know what this is. My approach is I'm going to tell you what I've heard, and then I want you to tell me your side of it, and then we can kind of talk through it and figure out what needs to happen next.
Beyond that interaction with the manager, was there any other examples or situations that you look at and say, man, that was a really good learning experience for me in that role at such a young age?
I didn't really have any employee issues, but like I said, I've had situations where I've had to protect some of our employees. I know I had a particular incident where I had a young lady who could actually do some work from home one weekend because we were trying to get caught up on some things. And the warehouse supervisor, he was adamant about her being in the office because, in the office and doing the work. And so what I didn't understand, like, well, why, if she can work and you can just send her emails or whatever to let her know what needs to be done at the time, why is it so important for her to be in the office? And he told me, because I have to be in the office.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that is not the answer that we need. I mean, and she didn't. She worked from home that weekend too, but it was like, it just kind of let me know that I need to make sure that I'm standing up for my folks.
That whole be in the office thing, obviously COVID changed that a lot, but it is such an old school thing because I remember when I was building my career that as an outside salesperson, my manager would want us back every evening, at 4:30 or 5, even if, and this was television, even if you had to pick up a tape on the other side of town.
Oh, wow.
And it was closer, and it made no sense.
Right.
Yeah. If the person's getting their work done, why do you want me to come back, touch my desk?
Exactly.
and come back? So having someone that sees that and can take up for your team is important.
Yeah.
And where did that lead you?
After that, I had a boss who was there. He left Selectron and he moved to Ocala, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And he worked for this company called E1 and made fire trucks there.
Fire trucks?
Fire trucks. So if you're driving down 75, going to Disney, headed towards Orlando, this is like 40 miles south of Gainesville and about 90 miles north of Tampa and Orlando. And he had an opportunity for me. He said, how would you like to move your family down in Florida and be the purchasing manager down here?
That's a big jump.
It was a big jump. And we decided to do it. They flew me down and moved the whole family, packed the whole family up. It was me, my wife, and my daughter. We moved down to Ocala, Florida. We were there for 4 years. And that was a great experience, too. It was, Ocala is a slower community.
Because it's in the middle of the state, right?
Right in the center of the state.
Horse country.
Horse country. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So you're a young guy. You're moving your family out of town. You show up in Ocala. What's the initial take on it? You're excited about a new job, but you're also away from a lot of familiar things.
I'm away from a lot of familiar things. My whole purchasing staff was probably 15 or 20 years older than me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it was different. But, I mean, like I said, I treat people a certain way, and I try to be fair to everybody, and they had a lot of respect for me.
Yeah. Did you get any resistance from some of the older folks, particularly initially?
I thought I would, because in one particular person, I remember him telling me that he asked me how old I was, and he said, "My kids are your age." But I mean, they all, like I said, they all were very respectful, and I stood up for them too. It was like I made sure that they had what they need, and it turned out I had some really good, strong relationships and stuff with them too.
So as someone who's been through that and someone who might be listening to this going into a similar situation, what would be your advice for a new manager who's going in who has direct reports who have 10 years experience on them and might think that who's this young kid coming in telling me what to do?
I listen. First thing I do is listen. I want them to tell me what kind of issues and kind of obstacles that they may endure, and I want to try to figure out how I can help them with those. I'm not going to go in there and tell them how to do their job, but I want to listen to how they're doing it, and then if there's some opportunities for me to offer some improvement opportunities, I'll do that. So if there's technology is always growing. I mean, it's something that's happening all the time. So I'm listening. If there's some kind of technology that I know about that may make their jobs easier, then I may suggest that. But going into it, it was definitely different. And my biggest thing is to listen and learn how things operate currently before you start going in there making changes and trying to make an impact, being like a bull in a china shop. Just listen.
Well, what's the saying I've heard before about particularly a new leader, a new manager? First, do no harm.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't come in and blow things up.
Don't blow things up. I mean, it's always good, go and make some improvements and stuff, but listen to them. I mean, I'm always going to listen to what my employees are doing, even if I'm trying to implement a change. And the technique that I always use is I may go and come up with a process, and I'll ask them, tell me, this is what I'm thinking we need to do, and this is the process I think we need to have. Tell me why it won't work. Because a lot of times they'll say, well, we tried that before. I say, okay, when you did it before, what didn't work about it? So then we could talk through, well, this didn't work because of this. So then we would address that reason and having them a part of that process and talking them through it. It gave them, they were empowered to feel like they were part of the solution. So it was more likely to work when I included them in the process.
So very collaborative.
Very collaborative. That's how I operate all the time. I want to make sure that people are part of coming up with a solution. So, the buy-in is there.
Yeah, and that buy-in's important.
Yes.
I'm curious about E1.
Okay.
So fire trucks.
Fire trucks.
Build them from the ground up, components. And how does that work? A city of Chattanooga says, hey, we need a hook and ladder truck. And
they do. So there's different kinds. So you have some that we would fabricate the whole cab and everything from the beginning to the end. There's the truck. They use E1 fire trucks in. It's a show on TV right now.
Is that Nashville 911?
No, I hadn't looked at that one, but it's Fire Country.
Fire Country. I haven't seen that.
Fire Country is on, and they use E1 trucks. If you look at the emblem, those are E1 trucks. But they had different kinds. So we had like aircraft rescue trucks too, so that they use at the airport. So we had a whole building that was dedicated to building those. Now sometimes you get those bigger trucks, so we had contracts with Freightliner where we would actually buy a cab from Freightliner and then we'd put the fire truck body on it. And just different things. And you would be amazed as to how many different colors of red there are.
I thought it was just fire truck red.
There's a whole bunch of different color reds. And we did, when the war in Saudi Arabia was going on, we built Saudi trucks.
Really?
They were the color of sand, so you couldn't see them. They didn't, you don't want a red truck driving through there to stand out. So it was like the color of sand. So we had different colors of.
And you ship them to Saudi Arabia?
We did.
Is that on a boat or a plane?
That wasn't up to me. So once they came and picked up the truck, I don't know how they did it.
I don't know why I thought of that. You putting a fire truck on it.
We had, we sent fire trucks out there. It was just a whole bunch of different things. And the funny thing about you talk about if the city of Chattanooga ordered a truck, when they go to do their inspection, you may have you may see a truck from Nashville there. And the fire captain, the fire chief may look to say, well, he has that on his truck. I want you to put that on my truck. So they're looking and see the little features and stuff that they have for those trucks, and would make them want to do a little change order at the end because they want something that they saw on another truck.
So, and as part of your job of procurement was to order all those different.
I had to order the materials for the trucks and stuff. So,
how long were you with E1?
I was there for 4 years.
And you had an opportunity to move to Chattanooga, which was getting you back to Tennessee. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I did. So this was in 2007. Earlier that year, my dad had been diagnosed with colon cancer, and I really wasn't even looking for a job at the time, but I had a headhunter that reached out to me. And when he reached out, it was an opportunity to move closer to home. And so I did the job interview, and they offered me the job, and I was able to bring my family back here to like I said, it was an opportunity to get closer to home. So 5 hours away.
So the company that reached out to you was EPB.
It was, a headhunter, and
a headhunter for EPB.
For EPB.
And what was the job?
Purchasing manager.
Okay, so you're still in purchasing.
I'm still in purchasing the whole time. So they reached out for that one. Unfortunately, when I moved here in October of 2007, my dad passed November 23rd of 2007.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but it was still good. It was still a great move to bring my family back closer.
Yeah.
We got off the plane. Actually, when I brought my wife here to visit, we get off the plane and she could see that the leaves were turning on the trees and stuff, and it felt more like home again. So you missed all of that for 4 years in Florida, but it was good.
Yeah, you basically have one season.
Yeah, one season. Yeah. But we got a lot of visitors down in Florida. We don't get as many here.
Did you know much about Chattanooga before you moved here?
I had only been to Chattanooga one time prior to that. We spent one night on our way to Atlanta, and this was back in college.
Yeah. Which is common for a lot of people. We were a stopover. So when EPB reaches out to you and you're still in procurement, was there anything when you got here that you came in and said, "Oh, this is so much more, so much better than I thought," or "Oh, wow, this is different than I thought," that gave you pause?
When I got here, again, I mean, I was in the purchasing department, and my staff all of them were quite a bit older than me. I had 3 buyers that were very experienced but very, very good, and they took really good care of me. So they were a little bit older than me, so I had to go and do the same thing I did down in Florida and listen to what their challenges were and see how I could help them remove those barriers. But one thing I loved just the city of Chattanooga, and I love what we were doing. One of the first people that I met here, he's retired now, but Michael Jones, he was the manager of Minority and Women-Owned Business. And when I met Michael, seemed like he was like the mayor of Chattanooga. So he would take me to all these different events and any kind of luncheons and things like that. He and I were always together. And by me being a purchasing manager and him being over Minority and Women-Owned Business, we locked in, and we, just made sure that we were taking care of the whole community. And so he introduced me to a whole lot of different people, and just made me just learn the city. And wherever we would go, he was very well known. And that's somebody else who I aspired to be like, because I wanted to be, I wanted to meet a whole lot of people and just kind of just get to know people and find what the opportunities were.
And obviously it's very important, but how important is it for someone not just new to town, but someone growing their career to have a mentor like that?
It is so important. And I try to be that for people that I meet too now. So just to find out what's going on so you can know what's happening in the community and stuff. It's huge.
So if you're a young professional and you really don't have a mentor, how do you go out and find one? Because I had a lot of influential people in my career, and I can empathize with someone listening to this going, well, how do I go out and find someone?
You just have to talk to people. And I think you'll find the right one. You'll find somebody that it just kind of clicks, I believe. But don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just have conversations with them. And then, ask them to go to lunch. And then you don't have to come out and say, can you be my mentor?
Right.
Or would you be my mentor? It's just a matter of you talking to them, kind of throw some ideas off of them, and then let the relationship evolve.
Yes, it's not like high school saying you want to go steady.
Exactly. Exactly.
It is. It's relationship building.
It's relationship building.
And just building that connection with someone who may know more or have better relationships with other folks than you have.
Absolutely. I still have a great relationship with him. He is my guy. He's gotten me into bowling and things like that. So he still bowls. Like I said, he retired a couple of years ago. He worked for EPB for 47 years before he retired. And he just a great guy. And he's still, we still pretty close to today. He was at my daughter's wedding. So, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Close friend is what that is.
That is.
You mentioned bowling. Have you ever bowled 300?
I have.
Oh, man.
I have. I've done it. It's great. I got a ring and everything.
Really? More than once, I bet.
I've done it a couple of times in practice and once in the league.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you're new in town. Michael Jones is lack a better term, introducing you around.
Yes.
Oh, I thought of one thing I wanted to add on the mentor thing that you were talking about. Most times, if you just ask people, they want to help you.
They do. Absolutely.
The simple question of, can you help me?
Yes.
Is such a door opener that more people don't use.
It really absolutely is. Just have the conversation with them. Just talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously he was a big impact on you. You're getting settled in procurement. What comes next for you?
So Michael retires, and let's see, this is, I'm in that role until 2020, during COVID hits around that time. Yeah. And Marie, I have a conversation with David Wade. We kind of talk about some things and stuff at EPB.
David being the CEO of EPB.
David being the CEO of EPB, which is great to have somebody like David in charge, and that is, I can talk to him at any time. We'd have some one-on-one meetings and stuff, and I kind of bounce some ideas off off David, and we just kind of go back and forth. And we went to lunch one day, and we just talked about a few things. Then Marie Webb, she was the VP of Human Resources at the time. They had created a position and wanted to see if I was interested in having that position. So it was Inclusion and Diversity Director at EPB.
So you've spent all these years in procurement, and all of a sudden, hey, you want to come over to HR?
It was. But, I mean, the thing about it is I always built those relationships.
Well, that's where I was going with it.
It's always about the relationships. So the relationships that I built throughout the company in purchasing, I knew what resources I had, and if something were to come up, I knew who to speak to about it or how to get things done throughout the company. So when I moved into human resources, it was great. So, I mean, I didn't have to deal with material shortages or anything like that. So that was a great part about it. But I still get to deal with the people, and I love the people side of it.
Yeah. How much of them coming to you saying, we think you'd be a good fit in this position, you think is attributable to your relationship with Michael Jones and him introducing you around and getting you involved in community stuff? And I want to piggyback on that by asking you how important it is to be involved in the community.
Oh, it was key because I learned how to work the room by watching how Michael operates. And
explain that a little bit.
So when like I said, we would go to some of these luncheons or we would always represent EPB. So at least Michael and I were usually going to these luncheons, and we were in our suit and ties and all of that. And I would see him, just the way he would talk to people and the way they would react to him when they see him, and just the different companies and so different relationships that he had built over the years. So I started establishing those same type of relationships. So whenever I go to an event at the convention center or something, I'm going to see a lot of people that I know, and I make it a point to go and speak to them and acknowledge them.
Does that come natural for you, or is that something you had to work on after observing Michael and others? Because a lot of people are very timid.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly you're going into a room you don't know a lot of folks. It's hard to go up and introduce yourself and say, "Hey, I'm Mike Costa," and they go, "So."
It is natural for me. I know some people. I get a charge off of it. I mean, it's like it builds me up when I get to see a lot of people that I know and make those connections. I know some people, it drains their batteries, and they have their social batteries when they get finished. But for me, it actually charges my battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a big, important aspect of that job. If you would just give a definition of what that job is today in terms of what you're responsible for and how you go about it.
Yeah. So it's workforce development and corporate training today. And it is like the best job that I have ever had because I get to, I'm a connector, and I like connecting people with opportunities. And we get to help people find jobs and find careers and things. I've had some guys that have gone through lineman school that are working for us right now. And these guys who never really thought about being linemen and stuff before, but they're making really good money. They are being able to do some things with their families and buying houses and buying cars and things like that.
And if you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but explain lineman school a little bit, because I know a little bit about the Southeast Lineman School, but why it's important to EPB, and because I think it is not a hidden gem because more people know about it, but it's such a good job.
Yeah. So there's in Trenton, Georgia, there's Southeast Lineman Training Center, and what they do is they train people to be linemen. And
these are the folks climbing the poles and putting your electricity back on.
Absolutely, climbing the poles, and they actually have a fiber side of it too, where they've been doing like splicing and things like that. So they have like drones. They can get their CDLs, and so even if they don't become linemen, they will have their CDLs, and they can drive trucks, and there's still opportunities for them. And we've had guys that have gone through that program and have graduated and are, like I said, currently working now. So it's been a really good opportunity. Like I said, a lot of people didn't even know about it. The first time I did a visit to the school, they took us to the classroom, and they have these on their desk. It tells their name and what city they're from. Wasn't many from this city, from this area at all. A lot of them from New York, the Northeast, and just all over. So, they had a classroom full of students, but
none from here.
None from here.
And what did that tell you, or what did that make you want to do?
I saw opportunity. So we had a relationship with schools. So we have a Future Ready Academy at Tyner. And so that was the first school we started working with to try to get opportunities to get some of those students to go and be a part of that program. And then it expanded. So we have some other students that have gone from Howard, from Central, just different schools and stuff within the area that have attended and have been successful with it.
So your job is both internal and external when it comes to workforce development.
It is. Oh, and yeah, I see the whole community side of it. I love that part of it too, because I've worked with both mayors on some of their initiatives, Mayor Wamp, Mayor Kelly, and so a lot of stuff that comes up. Unum has invited me to be part of some of their workforce development initiatives. So, like I said, I like being in the room so I can hear what the opportunities are, and then I can figure out how to match the people up with those opportunities.
Yeah, and I know EPB is doing this, and Blue Cross is doing this, and like with Blue Sky Academy and stuff like that. How important is that for companies to take that initiative on their own, as opposed to relying on the traditional sources of new employees or getting someone in your system?
We're doing this for our community. We are providing opportunities within our community to keep these jobs within the community. I think it's a win-win for everyone. I'm looking for great employees, and they're looking for great opportunities, and we can keep that money within our the Chattanooga community is key.
And spreads it more equitably.
Absolutely. That's just making our area, our neighborhood, our community that much better.
Yeah. Yeah. Rather than trying to bring in people from outside, wouldn't we be much more better off giving the opportunity to local folks to better their lives and have a...
Absolutely. Like we have local companies here that, we're just making our community stronger.
Why does EPB take such a leadership role on that? Because I grew up in Memphis. I grew up with MLG&W, Memphis Light Gas and Water. And I would venture to say that other utilities across the country do not have that same attitude that EPB has towards their community.
Right. Well,
what makes you EPB unique?
Our mission, we strive to be our community's greatest asset. We have that in writing, and we communicate that to all of our employees when they come in. We want to be our community's greatest asset, and that's what we're doing. We're practicing what we preach, and it's just that's why it's such a blessing for me to be a part of this company, and I've been here for 18 and a half years, and I still love talking about the fact that I work at EPB.
Yeah.
It's great, and I can do that and hold my head up high, and I don't have any. I don't have to worry about people just bashing me because I work at EPB. Like you said, in Memphis, it's not that same. You may not even want to wear a shirt.
To say you work.
You don't want to wear your shirt there around there, but here you can do that and hold your head up high.
And how does the innovations EPB has had over the last few years continue to spur us on? Obviously, the fiber was a big thing, and now all the talk is quantum and quantum networking. What does that mean for your role in terms of both internal and external workforce development?
Well, the cool thing about it is I was here for the fiber implementation, so I was here at the beginning of that, and then I'm seeing what quantum is doing. So for my current role, and we're still figuring out what those job opportunities are, but the fact that I know how to work with the school system, because we have a great relationship with Hamilton County Schools and a lot of different companies around here. So when we figure out what those job opportunities are, and we can start getting people ready at a much earlier rate than what we've done in the past. And the more that we know and the more that we can prepare these students and stuff for these jobs in quantum, the better off we're going to be.
If anyone's listening to this and wants to know more about specifically workforce development and want to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
They can reach out to me. You can. I can give you my email address. It's richardsonkk@epb.net.
Okay.
Just send me an email, or you can actually reach me through the regular line at EPB. It's 423-648-1372, and then just ask to speak to me, and you can get to me through that way as well.
Because I'm sure we've got some people who either run businesses or own businesses that may want to partner with you on some types of things.
Absolutely. I'm open. I don't mind sharing the playbook with you. So I'll share with you whatever I can share with you, and I'm going to connect you with whoever I think would be a good fit for you as well. So like I said, I am a connector, and I'm listening. I'm listening, and you'll see that my eyes are kind of looking up, and I'm thinking, as I'm hearing you speak, I'm thinking about, well, what opportunities could I have, or who could I match this person up with that would be a great opportunity for them. So that's what I want to do.
Well, I'd encourage anyone that is listening that wants to reach out to Ketha to do so. Before I get to my last question, I do want to remind our listeners who makes my morning cup possible. It's a big thank you to our presenting sponsors, EPB and Rockpoint Bank. Get EPB fiber optics for the world's fastest community-wide internet, and Rockpoint Bank, your local banking partner, your business, your bank, your future. As a reminder to our listeners, if you like My Morning Cup, we sure would appreciate a review. So if you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, give us a review. And Ketha, here's your last question. What would you tell that 25-year-old Ketha Richardson is important for a happy life?
The most important thing for a happy life is to build those relationships and keep maintaining those relationships throughout, because you never know when you're going to need them again. And it's just always going to be somebody that's going to need you. So just keep maintaining those relationships and keep being the person that you are.
The maintaining the relationships, I think is so important. I read something somewhere. When someone comes to your mind, go ahead and reach out to them.
Absolutely.
Because
you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know if you won't ever have a chance to reach out to them again. You never know that you might be picking them up at some time, or they may be exactly what you needed to hear at that time.
Absolutely. That phone call may be just what they need at that right moment. And you don't know what you mean to somebody.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. Well, I tell you what, I enjoyed this. I've enjoyed getting to know you better, and I really appreciate you coming over and doing this.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this too. I was a little nervous at first, but you made me feel really good about it. I enjoyed it.
Well, good. I appreciate it. It's good to see you, Ketha. Thanks for listening to My Morning Cup, a podcast by Consta Media Advisors. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend. I release a new episode each week, so be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever you listen to podcasts.